Welcome to Kory's Rides. Fair warning, this is going to be a long video. Hey everyone, I'm going to be removing some stuff on the bike, and I'm going to explain what it is real quick. What I'm going to be doing is removing the secondary air supply system, or the pair valve. And how it works is you've got your air box here, air comes in, and it would go this way to the engine normally, but it also has a passageway here, and it goes to a pair control solenoid valve, and then that goes down to a reed valve, or a check valve, and that allows air to go in here by the exhaust valve, and then it mixes air in with the exhaust to help burn up the fuel a little more completely. But what the internet and a couple manuals have told me is that only American models have this, and I want to get rid of it because it's extra weight, and it's the bike's for off-road and show use only. Anyway, this hose here is just a crankcase vent, but I'll show you on the bike what I'm doing. I'm going to grab my little pen light, and for probably the first time ever, Kory's Rides has enough light, nearly, better than it usually is. But anyway, right up here, that's your control valve, and then that's your check valve, and I need to make a block off plate for that once I remove it. But as you can see here, I've already taken a hose clamp back, and you just pinch them and then you can move them. So I'm gonna go to the other side here, and I've removed the reservoir for the rear brake. It goes right here, and I just tuck it back in here out of the way, and it just, if you're careful, you can just turn it right out of this so it stays off to the side. And then if we follow this back, this top one here, that goes right to here. So I'll take this off, and then we're going to have to plug that because that goes into the air box. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those, and then once I look at this valve a little closer, I'll tell you how to remove that. Oh, also, when you're removing the fuel pump from the supply line, make sure you cover both ends of it so you don't get dirt in it. And if you watch my video on the Acerbees, however you want to pronounce it, gas tank, I show you how to take all this stuff off, including the tank. One thing I should mention quickly, I've got a stainless steel screw in this hose here, and this hose, which is right here and then goes along the evaporative canister, which I'm also going to be removing the evaporative canister, that goes to the gas tank to catch fuel vapors. But since I have an aftermarket tank, I couldn't hook that up, and that kind of got me thinking about all this emissions stuff, and yeah, so that'll be coming out too. Alright, now that I've got the hoses on both ends disconnected, what we're going to do is, as you can see, I've got a 1/4 inch drive set up here with a long extension, a U-joint, and a 10mm socket on the bolt that holds it in. And then up there on the top, right there in the center of the light, it's just mounted in rubber. That just slides off. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that bolt that ratchet setup's on, and then it should just pull over and come right out. Alright, now we've got it out. I just got to, well, I can't do it with one hand, but I got to disconnect this plug and then pull it out. And there is your pair valve, or secondary air system. Next, I'm going to go into the top of the engine, and I'm going to remove the check valve, that guy right there, and I'm going to make sure that I cover it because I don't want anything else falling into the engine while I'm working on it. Looks like 2 bolts. They'll come right off. Then we can make a template, and we can also make our block off plate. While I'm at it, I'm probably just going to go ahead and check the spark plug since I'm right there. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take the 2 bolts out of here. It's an 8mm socket. Alright, with those out, go ahead and pop that loose. And then we need to take the actual valve out next. This we're going to use to make a template for a block off plate. So I'll just trace it and then mark the holes. I'll probably go use my buddy's mill to make that. I'll make it out of aluminum, make it a little thicker, but I'll show you what the end result looks like. Okay, I had initially thought you had to take that screw out, but I looked at my diagrams and you don't. I ended up just using pliers on that nut, and I can pull it right up out of there. So, also got this little screen here to take out. So there we are. And there shouldn't be anything visible down there, but I'm gonna get my light out and look anyway, just out of curiosity. Yep. See, it's just a passageway for air, so I'm gonna go ahead and block that off with a custom plate. Very important. Well, I don't know how important, but I think it's very important. Put tape over this so you don't get anything in the engine while you're working on it. It should just be a straight shot to the exhaust valve, and any dust or very small particles should get shot through there. But the thing is, that goes to the exhaust valve, so really don't want to get anything in there. Alright, what I'm going to do now, because I can't get in to make my custom plate at the moment, this hose here on the EVAP canister goes to the tank, and then we've got the valve up on top of it. There's a bracket over here to disconnect. Then on the other side, we've got the drain, and I got to figure out where this hose goes. I think that just goes to the valve, if I remember right. Or no, that's going up over here, back under. Okay, that's just a vent. That is just a vent. So I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, all the brackets holding it in, just take the bolts loose, take the hoses out, and then this hose here goes to the throttle body, and I'll probably cut it off right below that elbow there, right there, and then I'll shove a stainless steel screw in it with a hose clamp like I did here for the tank vent, because that works really well, and then stainless won't corrode and put rust into the engine, so that's another reason why I'm doing stainless. So yeah, again, this is just a vent that was stuck under here. It goes to this, and then the drain goes back down around to the other side, so that's pretty easy to remove. If you have a factory gas tank, you'll have to figure out how to plug this on the gas tank side. I'm not sure how you do that. I don't have a factory tank. I'm not going back to a factory tank. And I did this when I put my Acer B's, a Churby's, however you want to pronounce it, tank on here. So that should be a pretty simple removal. I can't see the future, so if I run into a problem, I'll make sure to put it in the video, or an easy way to do something. Otherwise, I'm just going to pull it out. Okay, as you can see, I got my little screw in there, and I put a hose clamp around that barb on the throttle body, just because I wanted to make sure it stayed on there, but that should work. On the back here, I've got everything disconnected. You probably can't tell, but the back is mounted in rubber, and you just need to take the bolt out of here that this bracket's held on with, and it should pull out, and then you just got to disconnect that plug that goes to that valve. But what I'm running into here is the plug goes in the throttle body, so I'm probably going to have to remove that before I remove the canister. Okay, this is a bit of a cluster, but this bracket on top, there is an acorn nut. Remove that, and then the valve will come off, and you got to take the that big hose off the back there with the red stripe. Take that off the back, and then you can kind of pull it out of the mounts, and come on. Well, it really likes to stay in its rubber mountings, but that's how you get it out. And then I just gotta fuck around with it to get it out. I was gonna try not to swear in this video, but there it fucking went. Okay, there's the EVAP canister. And if you notice, there are some cables going through the bracket it went to on the other side, so I'm gonna leave that in. And now this, I've just got to take this plug off, which it's taped up pretty good, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you just pinch it right here. The release tab's right underneath it, and it should come right off. But I can't do it one-handed, but that's where the tab is to release it. Then all these things I'm disconnecting, I'm covering them in tape 2 ways and then wrapping that tape around this way just to keep it on, keep the dust and stuff out of them so they don't short out when I go through water or get really dusty. For those of you who like to deviate from the lesson plan, this hose, that's a crankcase breather. Don't remove that one, and specifically do not plug it. If you're going to remove this, you got to put some sort of filtered breather on here, and then you get a big oily mess all over your engine, and it smokes and it's bad, so I would suggest leaving that one on. Anyway, got a nice big clean hole in that center area of the bike now, so I don't know how much all this stuff weighs, but I really don't care. I'm not going to go weigh it. Oh crap. Oh, I got a leaking fork seal. Oh, that's another thing to fix. Hooray! Anyway, that'll be another video. But all I have left to do now is a block off plate and cap that. And that is our EVAP canister and pair valve removal. Why am I saying that? I'm not done yet. Okay, I've got my plate made, and I milled this out, but you could do this with a hacksaw, a drill, and a file in your own garage if you don't have access to a mill. I just did it with a mill so I could get, you know, the same shape on the outside a little bit easier. But you could hand form this and hand drill it. I sanded the bottom smooth, and I'm going to put some Loctite 518 on it, and it's a flange sealant, and as you can see right there, preferred sealant for aluminum flanges. So I'm going to try that. I'll let you know if it leaks, and if it does leak, I've got some of this stuff from Ford. My dad used to be a Ford mechanic, and he had that laying around, so yep, I'm going to go ahead and put that plate on the top of the engine, and then I've got a few vacuum caps I'm going to put over top of the barb on the air box where the pair valve hose used to go. So hopefully one of those will fit. If it doesn't, I'll go find some more. You can get these at auto parts stores. Just ask for vacuum caps, and I'm going to put it over top of there and then probably use a hose clamp also. Okay, there it is installed, and if you don't want to go out and buy a whole tube of flange sealant, you could just put the reed valve back in, the part that was underneath the inlet. That reed valve has a rubber gasket surround, so you could just stick that under there and then put this plate on top of that. I use this for other stuff. I had it, that's what I used. If this leaks, I'm going to go get that reed valve with the rubber gasket and put it underneath there. That's a backup plan anyway. And here I've got my vacuum cap on with the hose clamp around it. I'd stay away from doing all the airbox mods of drilling the vents into the side and that sort of thing and cutting the snorkel off, because that's made so dirt and other shit can't get in there. So make sure you seal that up really good. I might even take that cap back off, fill that tube with silicone, and then silicone the cap on and then hose clamp it, because I really don't want stuff getting in there, because that is the side after the air filter. So it was going to the engine after the air filter, so if stuff gets in there, you're putting dirt on the engine side of the air filter, and that'd be really bad. So make sure you got that sealed up really well. Performance gains from doing this? Probably none. This is just stuff that could go wrong that I took off the bike because I don't need it. Iowa doesn't check vehicles, so I just took it off. Your state might check vehicles for emissions, so you know, careful what you do with this thing. So you'll just have to figure that out for yourself. Again, performance gains, probably not worth the effort to go through and do this. Anyway, this has been Kory's Rides. Thank you for watching.